Welcome to the Stage Door Show. I'm Dave Hondel. Tonight, I have a wonderful artist, very popular to country music for decades. A wonderful single out called I Can't Get Close Enough that's supported by an amazing music video. He also has an autobiography that was released in 2019 entitled A Hit with a Bullet. We're honored to have him with us tonight, so please welcome Mr. Sammy Sadler to the show. So thanks for being with me, Sammy. Really appreciate that.
Hey, Dave, it's good to see you, man. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you on. SammySadler.com for all of you. Check him out. I know you've been around for decades, and I can't get close enough. That's the single, we'll start with. A lot of members from Exile that were in not only the song, but the video. So talk about the making of that song, because I can't get enough of the song. I've been watching it several times, the last couple of days, and I love it. I was showing it to my wife, and she's hooked as well. So why don't you talk about the making of that song and that video, because both of them well done.
Well, I appreciate that, and tell your wife thank you, man. Spread the word about that and my music. I appreciate you guys
for sure.
J.P. Pennington and Sonny Lemire of Exile, they are the writers of that song. And, if you know Exile, they have been together 63 years.
Yeah,
and that's
amazing.
The original members. If you remember the big crossover hit, Kiss You All Over, that's
sure
Exile.
Yeah.
So to have those guys come in and sing with me on this record and be a part of it and have their iconic voices and harmonies on this is just a true honor for me, and a moment and a time I'll never forget. And I'm so grateful for those guys to come in and do that with me.
And speaking of being around, for decades, I know that, your debut was set in 89, and then, you got critically injured, in the famous, Murder on Music Row, and you have a book about it that you survived. But, one of the things I wanted to ask you, it's not just about, that you were about to debut your music to the world when this happened, but, talk about just the dark side of music a little bit, because I know, I've been in the music business on the music video side, so I've seen it from afar. But knowing that there's always a dark side to a business of any kind, really. And when they call it the music business, that's what it is. It's a business, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. And there's dark sides to it. So talk about that, and also just how you were able to take what happened to you and turn it around, and now you're flourishing. So so talk about that, if you would, a little bit.
Well, Dave, I started my career back in the late 80s. I got a record deal right out of high school back in 1984, going into 85, I guess, right in that time period. And back in those days, they wouldn't cut albums on you. They would cut singles to kind of see how your singles did before they wanted to go in and cut an album. So
commit, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, from 85 to 89, I had 6 nationally charted records. And we had went in and cut the old Aaron Neville song, Tell It Like It Is. And that was my 6th and fastest rising single, was going up Cashbox and Billboard and R&R, all the big charts.
Yeah.
And so they started working on my album to get it done and ready. But tragedy struck us on March the 9th, 1989, as that record was going up the charts and all the charts. I was shot and left for dead. And my friend, Kevin Hughes, who was the chart manager for Cashbox at the time. And Cashbox was a big rivalry to Billboard back then.
Yeah.
And he was in charge of the top 100 records where they move on the charts. He was shot and murdered. I was shot and left for dead. And it's known around the world as a Murder on Music Row.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, that near-death experience, did you were young at the time, obviously, but did your outlook on life change with that near-death experience? Because I think people who have that kind of experience, it changes their whole perspective on life. And did that do the same for you?
Yeah, I could say, when I was growing up and going to school, I was kind of happy-go-lucky, class clown kind of guy, but that night changed my life forever, and in a lot of ways it changed, for the good. In a lot of ways it changed for the bad, because now it's hard for me to trust people. It's hard for me to look at things in a different light, because I mean, my life was nearly taken from me in an instant. And to live through that and to come through something like that, it definitely has changed my outlook on life. And, I don't take things for granted anymore. And it's been hard, it's been hard and it's been good. But, Kevin and I had only been friends for about 7 months when all of this happened to us. And I found out later Kevin was a Christian. And at the time, Dave, I wasn't a Christian. And for
Yeah.
God to save me and to bring me up out of this and give me a second chance in life and to save my life, I'm just so grateful and thankful that he did. And I'm so grateful and thankful I'm still here and still pursuing a career I started so long ago.
Yeah, and your voice is amazing, and just like we just talked about your new single in the video, but just watching that video, I mean, you I know you're about my age. You got to be in your 50s, late 50s.
I am.
Yeah, and but you look like you're in your 30s. I mean, really, in that
Well,
video, you look great.
man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
And you have a voice, just an amazing voice, and just a new fan in me for sure.
Well, man, I really appreciate that. Thank you. And, going back to your question a while ago about, my experience and people that may be wanting to come into the music business, it's a very hard and difficult business. And like you said, it is the music business.
Right.
It's not, I thought as a young kid as growing up and when I moved to Nashville, I thought, well, man, if you can sing, you can get a deal and you can do this and blah, 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 is what I've lived through and what I've came to learn about this business. It's not about talent. Talent has very little to play in the business and in this game. It's really all about money and politics.
Yep.
And so anybody, I'm just going to be honest and I'm going to tell it like it is. And I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm not trying to discourage anybody. Don't give up on your dream. Don't give up in who you are and what you do and what you believe in. All I can tell you is from my journey and what I've learned through this business, always be conscious of who you are working with, who you are dealing with. Keep your eye and your ears open to all things. And don't just sign something to sign something, because you'll be signing your life away.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's well said. We talk about that a lot on the show because you're right. As you got to keep your circle close. You got to keep it to a few people that you trust. And I think if you have one bad person on your circle, your team,
it can take you down
takes.
that wrong.
Yeah,
take you down that wrong path. And I listened to I was listening to an interview on Dolly Parton one time, and they were asking Dolly, said, Dolly, why, how are you so successful? Yeah. And, her comment and her reply to that was, I've got lawyers that oversee those lawyers, that oversee those lawyers, that oversee those lawyers. Yeah. So that needs to be something that everybody is aware of. Don't sign something that's just put in you and put in front of you, because all of those words and all of the wording means something, and everything is geared towards the record company's favor anyway.
Absolutely.
But you've really got to be conscious of what you're doing and what you're signing. And I don't look at success, Dave, as, oh, well, I've had a hit record. That's the one thing that separates me from everybody that I've worked with and a lot of stages I've stood on, is that I've not had the opportunity to have that hit record, because the Murder on Music Row stopped my career and it brought me to a stop. And the way the police treated me, and they ended up treating me as I was a suspect when I'm here laying here dying. Yeah. And don't even know what's happened. And they put a cloud over me whenever they did that. Yeah. And it really,
for years, I understand.
It hurt me. Yeah. I mean, I really believe it hurt me, and it hurt my opportunity. But I don't measure success on a hit record. I measure success on being able to do what you love to do. Right. And, I've been fortunate enough to share the stage with many people. I've shared the stage with the Gatlin brothers and Toby Keith and Steve Warner, Joe Diffie, and all the people, I just haven't had that radio success hit record that everybody else has. And that's okay. If it's not in the cards for me to have a hit record, then, I'm okay with that, but I'm still able to go out and sing. And that's one thing that Nashville will never be able to do, is take my voice from me.
Right.
And I'm going to be able to go out, and I'm going to go out and sing, and I'm going to tell my story and what I've lived through. And, mine was a bullet. I survived a bullet. I don't know what anybody is going through out there. Everybody has their own walk and their own stories.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that don't give up, and don't get discouraged, and don't quit on whatever you're doing, because God will bring you through it. If you'll look to him and ask him and help him and look to him, he will bring you through whatever you're facing and whatever you're going through. And I just want everybody to understand that and know that, because I'm living proof of it. And I'm thankful to God that I'm still here.
Well, that's wonderful advice. And, the other thing is, now with all the platforms that we have available that you didn't have back in
Absolutely.
89, it's like a level playing field now. So anybody can have a hit record, so to speak, or have like a million, 2 million views on something that they do. If you have the talent to do so, you have the ability that, anybody has that ability right now. You don't need a record company, a label, all these things that you needed back then. Now it's anybody has that, same ability to put their stuff out. So what are your thoughts on that evolution over the years of that?
Well, as you said, man, I mean, we didn't have computers and all of the stuff that we had, that you have today. And we didn't have all of these shows to get on and be seen on TV, and one just be on there one time and be in front of 20 million people.
Yeah.
So the advantage is definitely out there, and, but you still, I don't care what level you try to do this on, you still got to have some money, and you still got to have some funding to do what you want to do. Be smart about what you're doing and how you do that. Like you just said, you don't have to have a record label. You don't have to have all that. You do have to have some funding, but fund it right and do your promotion and your stuff and your strategies right. And you can do it on the computer, and you can do it with a push of a button, that we didn't have back in those days.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing, I wanted to ask you about this, because as a country artist, you live in Texas. A lot of stuff funnels through Nashville, but Texas is still a big market for country music. And so do you see a difference in being an artist in Texas or North Carolina or Atlanta, or wherever you might live? Because everybody thinks they got to move to Nashville to be successful in the business. And I would say you don't have to. You could put your footprint wherever you live if you have the ability and you have the talent. What are your thoughts on that? Because everybody wants to move out to LA and New York and Nashville to get in the industry. But to me, it's like you're going to a saturated market that, you can be lost in, the shuffle. But if you're successful where you are, I think with social media and all the platforms we have, you can be, you can have popularity anywhere you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care what genre of music you're in. You don't have to move to that big city to be in the game, so to speak. Do your own thing and do your own stuff. And nobody is even going to want to sign you or do anything unless you go out and create the footprint. Today's world and today's music business, they want you to go lay all the groundwork and have all these millions of followers, have all of this stuff before they ever want to get in the game with you. And the thing about it is, why do you want to give all of that away once you've gone and built it yourself?
Right.
You don't have to go and do all of that. Put your stuff together, and wherever you're at, and go out to your grassroots America of where you're at. Go out into a 4 or 5 state region around where you're at and build your following and build your music and mushroom out of that. But once you go and do that, and you start building your numbers and you start building that following, and you do all of this, you can be your own entity and handle this stuff and do it yourself, instead of selling out to a record company that's going to take everything from you.
What was your biggest regret in the music business so far? that pitfall that you wish you would have avoided? Is there anything out there that you can remember?
Well, again, man, I mean, I've had some deals that I've signed that I thought uh, my attorney at the time was taking care of me, and all the stuff to find out that it's not, and they weren't. And
Yeah,
again, I cannot go back to. You've got to be aware of everything that you're doing, everything that you're signing, and the wording of how it is worded, and all of the stuff that are in these contracts. You have got to make sure you know what you're signing.
yeah. Don McLean said the same thing. That it's one of those things that, if I have advice for my listeners, listen to the folks that I have on the show, because they all say the same thing. Denise Williams said the same thing. Everybody I have on the show said the same thing. Make sure you have an attorney, a good attorney, and you have somebody that is in your corner, because
Yeah.
everything is going to be slanted towards the label. That's why they're in business, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, and I don't know how the contracts are today, Dave,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean, it's just like in a you go sign a deal with a major label, uh, and I don't know what the deals are today, but I'm telling you, I know of deals that were 85-15 deals, and that's 85 to the record company, 15 to the artist.
yeah.
I know there's deals out there now that some of these artists that you hear on the radio and that are successful, that you think are making all this money, and they don't have the money that you think they have. And some of these
Absolutely.
deals are 95 and 5%
Right,
deals. And
right.
I'm just telling you, it's not in your favor.
Yeah,
But if you can keep control and you can go out here and build your own stuff and do your own thing, and
yeah.
to go after that way.
Well, then I mean, the bigger you get on your own, then the better the deal is going to be on the other end if you do have a label interest, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you do end up, building that, and you've got them coming and knocking on your door, that is going to help you put yourself in the driver's seat, but you've still got to be wary of what you're doing.
Right, 100%. Is there one thing in your career, Sammy, that you look back on and smile and just say, that you'll always remember in your career, that's the positive. We talked a lot about negative stuff already, but was there one thing in your career that you look back and smile?
Man, again, Dave, I'm just so grateful and thankful. I thank God every day for being able to still be here and be able to pursue a career that I've started long ago, and that my voice is holding up, and my health is holding up good. And, I'm just blessed to have shared the stages with Toby Keith and Joe Diffie and Steve Warner and the Forrester sisters. And just, I could go on and on about playing on the Louisiana Hayride, and just all the stuff that I've been able to do. I just thank God every day that I've been able to do that stuff. And to me, I'm successful, and I look at it being successful. I don't look at it as saying, well, oh, I got all these hit records, or I've got all this stuff. I'm blessed to be able to have been able to do the things that I've done. I may not be a household name with the hit records, but I'm still out here doing what I love to do. And I love to come and perform and meet the people and meet the fans, because once you make a fan, they're a fan for life. And I appreciate those people, and I appreciate everybody that has ever hung on to me and followed my career.
That's amazing. Two questions left. The one I wanted to ask you, I always ask these artists because I always wonder what it's like, because I've always been behind the camera, in the back, behind the scenes. But what's it like? I've always wondered what it's like to go out on stage, get behind that microphone in front of thousands of people. Does that still give you butterflies when you do that? I always wondered
Man,
about that.
yeah, I mean, it's always exciting, man, to step out on a stage. I mean, it's like I become a different person, when I step into that element. And, that's what we love, and that's what we feed off of, is the people and the crowd. And it's just a feeling that I can't describe to you. It's only something that entertainers know when they step on that stage. If they know what I'm talking about, every entertainer will know that, because that's the moment that we live for. And it's just a special moment, man. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I can understand. And the new single "Starting Over." Can you talk about that? I know the release date isn't published yet, but talk about that new single, and I believe it's your new project, right?
Well, we have got my new album is going to be titled "Starting Over Again," and a good friend of mine, John Wesley Riles, wrote that song along with Don Goodman, and they've wrote a lot of hit records. And John Wesley became a friend of mine early on in life when I moved to Nashville back in 1984. And John Wesley has wrote a lot of hit records, and he should have been a superstar himself on his own. He had some hit records of his own, but it's like some of us, he got the raw end of the deal in the record deals. But he was a successful songwriter. He sang backup on many hit records. If you go and look at hit records from the 80s and 90s, John Wesley singing on George Strait to Alabama to everybody. And he was out with Alan Jackson on the road singing background with Alan Jackson and on all of his records. But John Wesley became a friend of mine, and Steve Warner recorded this song "Starting Over Again," and it's just one of my favorite songs, and one of my favorite songs that John Wesley wrote. And so I went in and recut it, and I sent it to John Wesley, and he sent me a message that I'll always cherish. He said, "Man, this is the best vocal performance I've ever heard
Wow.
on this song," and I'll take that with me forever. John Wesley passed away a few months ago, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
sorry that I didn't get a chance to see him before he passed away, but that's something that I'll always carry with me, and that's going to be the title track
Yeah.
to my new album, and I'm excited about getting it out and getting it to the people, and hopefully they'll resonate with it and find it with something that we've got out.
What a nice honor to him as well.
Yes.
So Sammy, also I wanted to just ask you, when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind to your fans and your family and your friends?
I just want people to know that I just thank God that I'm a Christian today, and that I'm still here, that I never gave up on a career that I dreamed and pursued. I didn't let a bullet stop me. I hadn't let all the talk and all of the stuff that's gone on, the negative stuff that
Yeah.
the police put over me in my life. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that if you call upon him, that he's going to bring you through, just like he's brought me through. And he's brought me through some of the darkest periods in my life, Dave, and I'm still here, and I'm thankful I'm still here. And I want everybody out there to know that whatever you're going through, whatever dark periods are in your life, that it's not over for you. If you'll ask and call upon him, he'll bring you through it, and you can stand on the truth, and the truth will always prevail.
Absolutely. God bless you. So I can't get close enough. The single and the video, amazing. Starting Over is coming up shortly, so we'll be watching for that. And also a hit with a bullet is the book that you can get on Amazon and other book sellers online right now. So, Sammy, I can't thank you enough. It's really been a true honor to have you on the show, and you're always welcome back. And again, just a great conversation. I really loved it. So thank you.
Dave, thank you for having me, and mentioning my book. If you're not a big reader, you can get it on Audible.
Okay.
If you'd like an autograph copy, you can get it on my website at sammysadler.com
Right here.
and get it there as well. And we'd be glad to sign a copy and get it to you.
Perfect.
Go to my social media. If you go to my Facebook, let me tell you, don't go to the one as my blue check mark. I've been hacked, so I've had to start another Facebook page. It's Sammy Sadler Official. That is my official page, so be
Okay.
sure to go there, like us on YouTube, share it. And again, man, thank you so much for having me on your show, for playing my music, for telling my story. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you, please let me know. And anybody that's listening, or Dave, if there's anything that you're ever associated with that we could come and play a show or be a part of a show or a festival, keep us in mind. We'd love to come and see you, and we'd love to come and say hello.
Well, we love that too. It's been an honor. Again, thank you so much, Sammy Sadler, and my best to you and your family.
Thank you so much, man. I hope you have a great day, and it's been a blessing, man, to be here with you tonight.